This is Super SaaS Bros with Cory and Jayde. Let's jump in. Jayde, how you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, man. It's Friday, but I feel like it's Monday, and I'm just like ready to just kind of continue crushing. And yeah, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, a lot of things have changed since our last episode. For one, I have a kid now.
Yes, you are a dad. What's that like now?
Yeah, being a dad, well, right now, I guess it's pretty simple for me. Like newborns, they don't do much. They just hang
Mm.
out.
They just hang out.
They
What
scream
makes
when
them
they're
interesting?
hungry and they scream when they're tired
Yeah,
and they scream when they go to the bathroom. So,
yeah,
it's pretty standard stuff. But being a dad's fun. Being a dad and being an entrepreneur is something I'm trying to kind of figure out. But
hmm.
just overall, dude, just like enjoying it, enjoying life. And yeah, been enjoying what we're doing as well too. And since our last podcast, we've also changed our kind of frame of mind of what we're going to be doing for 2025.
We did.
Do you want to start off with like what we were doing and then we can
Yeah,
talk about like what we are going to be doing or what
sure.
we are doing?
Yeah, sure. So if you've been listening and following along with us, you know that we've been building a bunch of micro SaaS businesses. So you've probably heard of Shipangular or you've heard of Fundaplan. And these were ideas that were kind of born from just like fighting and tackling our own problems. And we started to continue to build out what we've called like an ecosystem of founder-led products. So how do we get founders from essentially startup to scale up? So we've built code boilerplates, we've built AI generated business plans, we've built a library of SaaS credits where we can essentially get a startup for $500,000 worth of credits to help them scale their business. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. So our micro SaaS business is live. It's our portfolio is live. It's on sixsummit.io. And Six Summit is essentially the brand that these portfolio companies are held under. But the way Six Summit actually started was as a software agency. And the idea was very simple. It was actually just kind of created from demand. And it
Yep.
came out of just working out of a co-working space where I'd sit down, I'd have, code on my screen, and I'd just be hacking away on little side projects. And I'd have people kind of just walk over, see the code on my screen, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And kind of just like hitting it off there and being
Cool.
able to bounce ideas back and forth with them. And they'd ask me if I can, build this real estate analytics app, or another one was like a financial planner type of app. And I was like, okay, so there could be something here. So instead of me, hacking away at these small projects personally, let me help, other businesses, other small businesses build what they want in their business. And Six Summit just kind of was born just by trying to help small businesses integrate tech into their business. So we've used Six Summit for two purposes. The first one is the software agency, and then the second purpose is to kind of hold and captivate our portfolio companies and continue to add to them as we see fit.
Yeah.
2025 has been, the year that we want to call as the year of focus, right? Where we're kind of coming into the year and really just like dialing in exactly how we're going to position Six Summit, how the two of us are going to be, attacking the market. And right now, Six Summit it's exactly that. It's a software agency. So we're helping small businesses, marketing agencies, help integrate and create tech within their business because we know that their clients probably have a huge problem that they're aware of that we might not know of. So,
Yep.
what better of a referral source than an agency? So
Yep.
that's the plan.
Yeah, man, that is the plan. I love the way that you started started Six Summit, just like literally working in a co-working space around other people, and people just kind of asked you what you're doing. Was that real estate project? Was that the first project you worked on, or was it a
No,
different one?
no. So the very very first project I worked on was for a company out of Mississauga, and they were called Infomoney,
Okay.
and they wanted to build a financial planner, and they called it Money Suite. And this was This was really just me. I put an ad out on Kijiji, and I think this was back in 2018.
Yeah.
And from there, I was just kind of doing it aside from Six Summits. So this was just like a little freelancing gig.
Yeah.
And then I had another one, and they were in, I can't disclose the name, but it was basically a meal planning app.
Okay.
And the meal planning app was basically a way for someone to go on, and they had this API full of recipes, and we would basically create a meal planner for them. And then they would go to the site, put in their name, put in their preferences, and then have a meal plan generated. And then
Cool.
it would integrate into like a Loblaws or a Walmart shopping cart. So those were the
Mm,
two biggest projects that I did outside of Six Summit.
cool.
Um, and then doing those kind of in a co-working space, people would see it, and then this real estate analytics that kind of you just mentioned, that was, I guess you could probably say, yeah, that was the first real project out of Six Summit. But
Gotcha.
um, the money suite,
The
the meal
planning thing.
planning,
Yeah.
and the real estate all ended up being funneled into Six Summit at some point.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
So cool, man. So cool. And yeah, I love where we're taking it now. You said like, 2025 is a year of focus for us, which I I love. I love that we kind of committed to like building, scaling Six Summit. And I think our whole goal here too is also to make it like an asset-backed agency, right?
totally,
Like
totally.
continue to add to that portfolio, work closely with these founders, like ones that like we feel like we're just as passionate. Well, we're passionate about all the projects we'll work on, but like, we feel like there's like such an amazing runway for it. Like, you know, we love to partner with founders as well too on all these projects. So,
Totally.
yeah, I think super exciting how we're doing this, and it's gonna be a fun experience, and it's gonna be nice to just do this and nothing else. Because if anyone listened to like maybe some of the first couple episodes of this podcast, or even like my previous podcast, Discovery Venture, you probably heard me talk about a lot of different things, and that was my struggle last year. Was like I did so many things, and yeah, it literally felt. I left my corporate job last year, halfway through the year,
Mm-hmm.
and then the back half of the year kind of just felt like trial by fire. I was literally just trying everything and anything under the sun
Mm-hmm.
to make my own businesses work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
then I realized that spreading myself my casting my net so wide was
Yeah.
probably detrimental to me seeing the results that I wanted to see. So that's why, like, for me, I was like, yeah, 2025 has to be your focus. 2024 was a year of experimentation and trying new things, and that's fine. But that's why, for me, I was like, yeah, 25, huge major focus, just zero in, and don't let anything else come in and bother it, and just like I'm just gonna go right down the barrel on this one, and
Totally.
yeah, will it into existence. It's gonna be great.
Totally. Yeah. And I think, even last year, some of the opportunities that came our way, it's
Mm,
like the saying, success leaves clues. And just seeing some of these projects being kind of thrown at us or like brought up towards us, and
yeah,
you know the revenue that we can start to create and how we can start to scale this company, it was just pointing in that direction. So
yeah,
I think we're just following the clues, and
yeah.
that's just kind of how we're gonna continue to approach 2025. So yeah, I'm super stoked, dude. Like, I'm super stoked to see where this year is going to take us. Already have a couple projects on the way, and
Heck
I
yeah.
think I think this is the year that is really going to showcase the power of, how AI is going to be able to help agencies, and how software agencies can leverage AI to help small businesses, because ultimately you can take what was a 10 to 20 person business back in 2015,
Yeah.
10 years later, can truly be a 1 to 2 person business, super powered by
S-
AI.
Super cool. Super
Yeah.
cool. And it's a fine line, right? Because people hear that and they're like, well, shit, like that means there's going to be less jobs out there.
Yeah.
And I disagree. I just think there might be less like of the current jobs. There's going to
Mm.
be different ones, right? Because like maintaining some of this stuff, being the ones employing some of these, like, we'll call it like AI agents or anything like that, there's going to be different opportunities out there. And also, like, this is probably the best time ever for someone to like jump on an idea and turn it into a business.
Totally.
Like it couldn't. And I don't want to say it couldn't be simpler, but it definitely the barrier to entry couldn't be better. Yeah, this is the time to do it. And then with super high margins, instead of having like 10 to 15 employees, yeah, maybe you only have like 2 to 4 employees, and that's it. And that's all you
Totally.
need to run the business. But curious, I want to dive into, because you said like it can help software agencies. We can also use this technology like to build the products that people want. How do
Totally.
you see it like helping like you, like
Oh,
in
dude,
your work and what you do? I'm curious about that.
I'll give you three tools right now that take me from take a five-person team of
Yep.
developers to just me, to just one.
Okay.
First one is a tool called Cursor AI. This is the newest, brightest, most like exciting IDE that has been brought into the market. It was launched, I believe it was last year, or at least the hype around it was last year. I'm a very skeptical person, so it's very rare that I will, quote unquote, jump on a bandwagon. Call it like
Okay.
maybe I'm like the dinosaur of like software, and I really feel like I need to learn the ins and outs. But when I downloaded this tool, man, and I've been I've been using IntelliJ, which is another IDE to use all my software, and they've even built in their own AI assistant. But when I downloaded Cursor and I started using Cursor,
Yeah.
they have this tool, man, called their AI Composer. You can literally just give it a prompt and it'll write the code for you. It'll create like there's a difference between going to ChatGPT or like a cloud and just ask it to write code, and I still do that.
Yeah.
But for it to actually create the files, for it to autocomplete the files for you, for it to like basically tell you this is a more cleaner, better way. Yeah, just like it accelerates the software development like more than 10x,
Does it
like
go right
100.
into like the repo and stuff like that, or
Is it what?
does it go like right into like what you're building, or is it just being like this is it, or that literally creates it for you?
Dude, it's like it goes it's right in the editor. So it's right in the editor.
Gotcha.
You're basically asking it to you can say like create me a component that, you know, I don't know, does X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
And it'll create the file, it'll create the component, it'll create all the services that it needs, and it'll generate it for you and give it to you. It's like, holy hell, like I
So cool.
did not know that this thing exists. So that's the first tool. And I use that 70% of my day is using that tool. It is incredible. So that is what I code in, you know, day and night. So
Cool.
super stoked about that. The second tool is literally called Super Whisper. There's Super
Okay.
Whisper and then there's Whisper Flow. They're both the same thing.
Okay.
Basically, instead of going into like Cursor AI into their composer and giving it a prompt to tell it to create something for you or do something for you, you literally just hold down a button and you speak to it. And then it'll just do it just from your voice. So now I'm not even using my keyboard. I'm literally just holding a button and I'm just like, yeah, so I need a component that basically, you know, shows these analytics on this certain deal and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it'll go in, it'll create the UI for you, it'll create the services for you. And again, I was very skeptical on it, but then I'm reading the code, I'm looking at the code, and it's not perfect, but
Pretty
freaking
good.
it's pretty freaking good, man. And also, like, I think it learns about how you code because initially when I started using it, I'm like,
Oh.
I wouldn't do it that way. And then
Yeah.
I would kind of change things and refactor things. And then I continue to use it, and then it would start to code like me. And I'm like, oh my
Oh
God.
shit.
So it's like it's kind of learning. I think it's learning on demand because the way it was writing code before and the way it's writing code now, it's like it's like I got 10 me's, and I'm like, oh my
That's
God,
so
yeah.
cool. No, okay, question on this before you explain the third tool. Like when you're either writing in cursor or talking into what's this one called? The second one?
This
Whisper
this one
flow
is called Super Whisper
or
or
super
Whisper
whisper?
Flow. There's two of
Okay.
them.
So whether you're typing or you're talking, do you
Yeah.
find that you need to talk or type in a more technical way, or can you talk like very
Generic,
stupid
dude.
plain English,
Plain
explaining what you
English.
want, and they'll just do it?
Plain English. Yeah. Think
That's
about it.
so cool.
A lot of code is like if you write code well enough, a lot of it should be just build a strong foundation,
Mhm.
and then you can make your code reusable. So it's like the whole dry methodology, which stands for is don't repeat yourself. So
Yeah.
You should really be limiting a lot of like copy pasting, and then a lot of code is just like do this. Like if you're generating a front end, a lot of the times you're going to be creating, let's say, form fields, right? Because every
Yeah.
front end is really just a web form. That's all
Yeah.
it is. And web forms, what do they change by? They really just change by maybe the label of it, right? Maybe just like the help text of it, right? If you
Yeah.
got a big web form, for you to have to write all of that out, for every field, it's annoying, it's tedious. But for AI to just do it right there, it's like it does it in,
So fast.
2.5 seconds. Like, oh my God. Like, oh my
So
God.
cool. So it's
Yeah.
like someone like myself, like I could use that, but the only downside is that like I couldn't gut check the code itself, and I also wouldn't know if I'm like, is that like a smart way to actually build it, right?
And I
That's
think,
where you're like software engineers, like people who have your experience, expertise, I
yeah.
feel like comes in super handy.
And I think it goes back to exactly what you're saying on it might not eliminate jobs, it might create more jobs. So there might be people who are like really good at reading code and might
Sure.
like just like maybe you're like an auditor, a code auditor or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it definitely takes a 10-person team to like a 1 to 2 person team real quick. And I'm not exaggerating.
So cool.
And yeah, so those two are like the biggest ones. And then the last one, which I wouldn't really call it like an AI tool, but Vercel, which is
Mm,
very popular. They have their v0.dev, which is just a great way for people who don't really write code, but maybe you're a project manager, maybe you're trying to showcase a prototype, maybe you're trying to go to investors, maybe you're trying to go to a software agency and show them what you want built.
yep.
You can give it a prompt and it'll create the front end for you, and it'll write the code for you as well in real time, and you can constantly update your prompts and talk to it and have a conversation with it, and real quick you can pretty much get like a prototype of what you're trying to build and show that to anyone, right? So instead of creating a Figma file, instead of creating, a wireframe on like Balsamic or something, yeah, this is a great tool that is really overutilized now. It got really big last year, but those I would say are the three biggest tools that developers are using today that accelerate the workflow.
It's so impressive, man. It's so cool. And I'm happy one, it makes like your life easier and you can get more shit done
Totally.
faster. So that's super, super, super cool. So those are the things that are powering the work that we're doing, coming right from Jade himself.
They
So
are.
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because being in the industry for like over a decade and writing code, I think to myself when I first started writing code, maybe even like the first call it 8, 9 years of me writing code, a lot of time was spent doing like tedious stuff. And
Right.
now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I could have saved those 9 years of development could easily be half of that. But it's kind of back to your point on the knowledge that you gain and how you're
Yeah.
able to like, yeah, audit code and things like that. So you don't really realize you're learning how to do it until it's done, and then you're like, oh shit, I can see exactly what's right about this code, what's wrong
Hmm.
about this code when the AI is generating it. So,
Probably a bit more fun now, eh?
oh my God, it just makes so much more fun. Like,
Yeah.
so much more fun. I'm like, I'll talk to it, and I'm just like, man, you're so smart. Like, you know what? For you to even think of that, like, hell yeah.
You're such a cool friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're such a great guy. Such a cool dude. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, imagine what the next 10 years are going to look like.
Yeah.
If you did what
Yeah.
you did in a decade, and like
Yeah.
now with the tools you have and potentially what other tools will come down the pipe.
Totally.
Um, how how do you see this? Do you find maybe to sorry, I'm going down a little bit of rabbit
Go
hole,
ahead. Yeah. Do your
but
thing.
like, if we are to like hire people, like for instance, let's talk about like if like, you didn't want to code anymore, you just want to focus on other parts of the business or something like that.
Hmm.
And do you feel like it's now with all these tools also easier to train people on how to do things, or do you find it's like actually more difficult?
I don't think it's one way or another.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I think knowledge is power in the space. So if you know how to code, yeah, you're not gonna be like, yeah, you'll be fine. If you know how to code, you'll be fine. If you don't know how to code, these tools will not help you.
I mean,
That's what I will
fair.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I will say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
So
don't know. Let me give it a shot and see what
yeah,
happens.
yeah, dude,
I'll
dude.
build the craziest stupid tool. It won't do anything, but it will do everything.
There you go. The everything anything tool. Yeah,
It'll be great. It'll be
yeah.
great. Let's.
Corey.ai coming soon.
I wonder if that's taken. I'm looking that up right now.
I have J.
Corey.ai.
I have J.ai.
Do you really?
I do.
No. Someone does have it, but it's for sale. So I
Yeah.
got to make an offer. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it.
Okay.
But you have J.ai? What do
I
you have on
do.
there? You just
Nothing.
have it?
I just have it. Yeah.
AI solutions for the future. Nice. It's just like the classic GoDaddy page.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, well, I
Crazy.
got it because I saw like first name domains with .ai
Hmm.
as like top level domains were like a real big thing. And my name isn't super common.
Mm.
JADE is super common, but JAYD isn't. So I got it when I realized it was for sale.
Yeah.
No one took it. And yeah, we'll see what it does because like Jenny.ai is a great example, which actually sparked me to buy J.ai.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so what is J.ai? So I don't know, maybe in a couple months when we figure it out and we launch J.ai, we'll come back to this podcast and realize, oh, there you go.
It's going to
Figured
be
it
some
out.
sort of AI agents that,
Maybe.
yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a second you. Actually, who was I talking to about this? Were we talking about it?
I don't
Like
know.
making a double U? Was this with I
Uh,
forget. I forget
yeah.
who we were talking about. Maybe I think anyway. I forget who we were talking about it with, but we were talking about like actually just having like a double of you, like an
Mm.
AI agent that is literally just a second person of you, like
Right.
in everything that you do, and
Right.
it's like something that's just like on your phone or whatever like that that just like can take calls and write email, do whatever, just like all these
Totally.
other things, so you don't have to, and
Totally.
neither does like a VA or an EA or something like that.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. So maybe that's
It's going.
J.ai. Thank you for listening to another episode of Super SaaS Bros with Cory and Jayde. We'll see you next time.